What is going on, YouTube? It's RedX Alpha here. Recently a lot of people have been playing Dragoon, and I know I have a lot of friends that want to play Dragoon but don't exactly know how to play it. So my goal today is to give you guys a Dragoon rotation guide. Now, I'm not saying that this guide is the go-to guide, the one you have to do. It's like every other Dragoon rotation guide that's on the internet. It's your choice. It's an option. You can always go with your own flow. But to start things off, I don't know how it is for PC players, but on my PlayStation 4, the hotbar set, I use two different sets. I use hotbar set 2 and hotbar set 3, as I just showed you now. I'm flashing between the two. Now on hotbar set 1, for my first rotation, I normally like to, do a nice little power surge buff, which will give me a critical on my jump or my spine shatter dive move. After that, I do the following: true thrust, vapor thrust, and then full thrust. And I did that about one to two times, depending on the fight. Now, a lot of people, they take their time with their buffs. Me, I like to dish out damage as fast as I can. So I tend to use, for cross class skills, I use Featherfoot, Foresight, Bloodbath, and Internal Release. And actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to add Mantra to the list, because there's some point where in the dungeon they just need a nice little extra boost, and it'll help them along the way. So now to start off my rotation, like I said, I will be demonstrating some of my rotation moves. It might seem unfair due to the fact that they're low level classes, just because of the area I'm in. So you start with true thrust, then you go to vapor, and then you hit full. Now normally when you hit full, depending on what type you have on, like when I get to the third rotation for full thrust, I used to use life surge, because it gives me that nice 1000 critical depending how much stacks I have on. A lot of people don't know, but you tend to get more attack power if you guys just stack your stuff. Like I like to put all my buffs on. I put Eternal Release, Bloodbath, Keen Fury, Foresight, Featherfoot, Blood for Blood. I use that whole combo with Power Surge too. And majority of the time, it'll give me a nice little 1000 damage, and sometimes it won't. Now, when you have all of them equipped, and you go and you do your 3-hit base combo, which is true thrust, vapor thrust, and full thrust. And by the time you get to full thrust, if life surge is up and you have all your buffs on, use it, and then when you use your full thrust, you'll get a nice little 1000 damage, and it'll be critical, so people can't say nothing to you. Majority of the time, when you get tired of using the same thing, you think, this HP can drop down faster. It can. You have three moves really that you can use for DOTs, for your dots, your damage over time. A lot of people don't know, but because when they're level 50, they stick to the basic combo: impulse drive, disembowel, and chaos thrust. Now most people forget that they have one more move that they can use to add DOT. It's a low level move. I mean, it does the job though, because sometimes you just need that little extra hit, So majority of the time people use it. And they also have Dragonfire Dive, which actually does give a little bit of a DOT onto it, as well as an AoE move. So it works out wonderful, Majority of the time people don't realize that there's other combos. Like, say everybody knows the heavy thrust and then Ring of Thrones combo, because that's its own thing. But what a lot of people don't know is that if you just use heavy thrust and go back into your basic combo of true thrust, vapor thrust, full thrust, you actually do slightly a little more damage. Most people don't really realize that. But for the most part, Dragoon is a pretty basic thing. As long as you know what you're putting your gear on, like right now, I have 110, 120 gear, but it's all focused on strength, vitality, critical hit rate, determination, and accuracy. For my accessories, I have the slaying accessories, but I also have 2 tank accessories on because I like the parry, which is easier for dodges and gives you slightly a little more edge for your Dragoon, and your HP's up, you know, gotta have good HP, and it also gave me skill speed, so, you know, I needed to attack fast, damage per second, DPS, you know? So, most people, they just say, oh yeah, they're a pro Dragoon, and you know what, it's what they say, because if they have their own rotation to do, let them do their own rotation. It's their choice. It's an optimal rotation. I'm not saying mine's the go-to way, just like how in my warrior video, I'm not saying it's the go-to way. But majority of the time, a lot of people really want to know how certain people do their rotations. Now, I'm only doing this because a friend of mine asked me for this video. Now, this video, I'm not saying you guys have to like it, you know, you criticize it if you want, it won't make a difference to me. This is, yet again, my own rotation. For my hotbar setup, like I said, I don't know how it is for the PC, but on PlayStation 4, PS3, they have one side for L2, one side for R2, as I'm showing you right now because I'm highlighting side to side. Now, for me, I like to keep my combos semi-close together, as well as my buffs and my Dragoon moves and stuff like that. Like Doomspike, I have Doomspike for when I'm dealing with multiple enemies, but majority of the time, if I'm high enough level, I'm using Ring of Thrones. If I'm level synced and I can use Doomspike, then so be it. I'll use Doomspike and it's a nice straight line AoE. For my R2 side, I like to keep full thrust, vapor thrust, and true thrust on one side and use the jump move. Majority of the time, I just use jump as a starter method before I start my rotation. Use jump, and then if I don't feel like running up to them after jump, I use spine shattered dive. Sorry about that, guys. Which is what I have on my R2 side as well, but it's, you know, R2 left. And then I have my evasive jump on my combo side because sometimes if you can't click it in time, you know, it's nice to have something if you can't get out of the way. I also use Life Surge right next to my combos because it's quick, easy, and it's faster for me to fight. That's how I am. On my L2 side, I keep all my buffs together. I always keep all my buffs together. So on my L2 side, I have Envirogate, which will give me, you know, 400 TP when needed. I got Power Surge from my jump attacks. Featherfoot, Foresight, Bloodbath, Keen Fury, Internal Release. You know, so it helps. Like I said, I'm using hotbar number 2 and 3. I don't know if PC players have the exact same thing, but this is how my game is, so I'm just going off of how mine is. If I knew more about the PC version, I would try to convert it and explain for you guys, but I'm sorry, I really don't. For my hotbar set 3 that I have set, I have Limit Breaker always on my R2 triangle side because it's quicker, so it's easier for me, as well as my damage over time combo, which consists of Impulse Drive, Disembowel, and Chaos Thrust. I always have those 3 together too because they are the same combo. Mantra is there because I ran out of space on my hotbar set 2 for DOTs. I only use Mantra in critical times, like if I'm doing Striking Tree Extreme and the lightning gets all of us but we're all stacked next to each other. Use Mantra, it'll help the healers out more. That's the only reason I have Mantra there. On the other side, I have Heavy Thrust and Ring of Thrones. And like I said, that's a combo based on its own. Heavy Thrust give you a little more power. When Ring of Thrones does damage, you know, it's an AoE effect. So, Dragonfire Dive, I have there because I ran out of space and because it looks like it just goes well. It looks like it's part of a combo with Heavy Thrust, Ring of Thrones. So I kept it like that just because it looked the same. To me, that's kind of my thing. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But anyways, back to the rotation. Now, majority of the time, a lot of people, they read stuff, and when they put stuff on their Dragoons, they think, oh, hey, you know, if I put it on Dexterity, I can do more critical power. But if you put it all on Strength, just because you're melee and you put it all on Strength, you can do the exact same critical damage. Like the highest critical I've done so far is 3k, but yet again, I'm still experimenting with my rotation. So right now, this is my rotation as is that gives you 1,500k of a critical damage at this time. Now, if I'm pretty sure if I got rid of the tank accessories and beefed it up to some, slaying accessories, I'd be up there in no time. But for now, this is just what I'm doing. A lot of people mainly go with, for cross-class moves, most people like to do, haymaker or second wind to heal themselves, followed by mercy stroke or fracture for a DOT. Now, fracture and haymaker is also a good choice because it does a nice little boost when their HP is at a low effect. I want to say 20%, and then it triggers. But majority of the time, it's good, but then it takes a long time to cool down. Now, I know that all these buffs I have on my L2 side right here that's highlighted, it takes a while for it to cool down. But you do 2 of the basic, true thrust, vapor thrust, full thrust combo, and then you do 1 impulse drive, disembowel, chaos thrust. Your buffs are basically almost ready to use again, and they'll reload real fast. So that's kind of a bonus. But you always want to keep a lookout for certain stuff. It's all about really damage position based. Majority of the time people are gonna they're gonna be either in front, on the side, or straight behind. You kind of want to see how I'm lined up with this toad's back right paw or leg, whatever you want to call it. That I'm kind of lined up there. It's a nice little damage position there, and the same thing for on the left side. You just want to line up at an angle, not yet right behind them, so that way you can do the most damage as possible. It's also a damage position based class, just like the monks. The monk is a whole different rotation due to the fact that it can consist of 3, so I'm not going to get into that until I do another video for the monk. But this class in general, it was pretty basic. I'm going to keep it sweet and short for you guys. So this is Red X Alpha. If you're playing Final Fantasy 14, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, doesn't even matter if you're on the PC. Hit me up. I'm on the Corel server if you want to know more or you just want to quest it out with me. So, till then, it's your boy Red X Alpha. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for sticking to the end of the video. A special shout out to my friend Windy Sky for encouraging me to make this rotation video. Till then, this is your boy Red X Alpha. Peace.